Hot metal fell into dry brush. 12 seconds later, a massive fire. 19 people died. More than 9,000 structures were destroyed or damaged, and it's the second worst fire in California history. People lost everything. Newsom promised Altadena a rebuilding plan. None of that has materialized. What has materialized is a way for the utility companies to limit what the survivors can recover. I think when a company's equipment burns down your town, you should pay for what you broke and, kind of be decent about the whole thing. My name is Dave. We're currently sitting on my street in front of my neighbor's house. 70% of my street burned to the ground. I don't know how much of it's rebuilding, maybe 15 to 20%. So I'm definitely not neutral in this scenario. Last week, the county decided that Edison was in fact responsible for the Eaton fire.
According to the report, Southern California Edison's equipment was responsible for starting the deadly Eaton fire last year.
The first jury trial, the one that decides what Edison owes the people of Altadena, is set for January. But here's the deal. Before a jury sees evidence, Edison CEO Pedro Pizarro, who made $16 million last year, he wants Sacramento, the state government, to decide what wildfire survivors should be paid going forward. He is threatened Edison might not invest as much in California if it doesn't get favorable terms.
I want to make sure these CEOs of these utilities aren't getting bonuses when they're liable for these fires.
On the legislative front, we're actively engaged with the governor's office, legislators, and key stakeholders. A framework without sufficient predictability will increase Edison's financing costs, making SCE's investments for customers' benefit more expensive. It will also influence how we prioritize and deploy future capital.
In plain English, it gives them a framework that they can sell to their investors so their stock can be properly rated. And California and Altadena, they get screwed. Weirdly, Governor Newsom, with 4 weeks left in the legislative session, is pushing lawmakers to consider these reforms. This isn't something that's happening in the future. This is going to happen in the next 4 weeks.
They may be back-channeling to you a different narrative, but we've had a long time to debate this.
Just for all of you who don't think this could happen that fast, last September, a bill, SB 254, was written in the final days of the legislative session. It was a complete overhaul of the California wildfire system.
It's familiar territory, 1054, familiar territory, SB 254.
So there are 3 questions that need to be answered. The first question is, what started the fire? Well, we know the county just answered that. Edison has been determined to have started this fire. The next question is, did Edison actually maintain its equipment? That's not decided, but there is some evidence to say no. I'm not saying it's true, just saying there is some evidence. And then the last question, who pays? That is also not decided. But here's the thing, Sacramento is working on question 3 before question 2, because that's the most important question to them. How much are they going to pay? Why was there a dead line sitting on a hillside? And that line has been up since the Coolidge administration, so over 100 years. In 2001, the state proposed a simple rule. If a power line is abandoned, take it down, unless the utility company is going to use it again. All the utility companies, including Edison, fought the state, and they won. They became the deciders of when their equipment was abandoned and no longer useful, not the state. If you're going to keep abandoned equipment up, then you need to maintain it, and you need to be responsible for it. Edison's defense will be that that line was out of service, but not abandoned. Did they know old out-of-service equipment could be dangerous? In 2019, the Kincaid fire started on an old PG&E line. The Kincaid fire is the one that caused PG&E to remove all of its old equipment. But they didn't require Edison to do the same thing here in Altadena. Edison says that it patrolled the Mesa-Sylmar line from 2020 through 2024. It says that that tower specifically had a detailed inspection in 2024. Edison says it has pre-fire photographs. Great. Where are they? We found 7 open work orders on the Mesa-Sylmar line for 2024. A loose connector, a damaged insulator, footing problems, vegetation, missing hardware. One was a priority 1 risk. That means immediate action. Edison says workers checked the priority 1 risk that same day, but decided it didn't need any repair. But it also failed to close the paperwork. Weird. show the inspection report, show the pictures, show who made the final call. After the fire, Edison ended up bringing investigators to a different tower on that exact same line. Guess what? There was a conductor hanging loose, not bolted down. The lineman said the damage wasn't new. It looked like that the year before. He didn't know why it wasn't repaired. Different tower, not the one that started the fire. Not proof of ignition, but it tells you exactly what to ask. What happened after the inspection? Here's the real kicker. Edison planned 57,440 transmission pole inspections over 4 years. It only performed 27,941 of them. They missed half their plan. You know what would settle this? The records. The records a court can compel. Before the government of California limits what Edison may owe the people of Altadena, shouldn't we know whether Edison actually maintained their equipment? Imagine you're a jury and you're hearing just the evidence that I've given you, but I assume they'll have more because they'll have the records. If you're Edison, why let a jury decide what you're going to have to pay when you can have Governor Newsom do it for you? That's why Edison needs a deal. Now watch how a company talks while it's waiting for one. Your equipment burned down a town. What do you say? Anything but our equipment burned down the town. February 2025, cause undetermined. July, no other probable cause at this point. Equipment likely associated with the ignition, while causation remained not conclusively determined. After the county named the tower, Edison said that it's taken its potential role seriously. Potential. The negligence question belongs in court. It does not belong with Governor Newsom's office. Right before Newsom's proposal was made available, a new marketing campaign emerged from the Wildfire Victims First Fund that blames climate change, land use, hedge funds, and billboard attorneys for the skyrocketing costs of power. Guess who it doesn't blame? The utility companies. This group is funded by PG&E, San Diego Power, and Southern California Edison's shareholders. And actual Altadena survivor groups? None. So when you see their media, understand who's paying for it. It also promises some accountability, a lost CEO bonus, fines of up to $10 million per violation, probation, potentially receivership. But all of that's pretty nebulous. No offense, but SCE is a $40 billion company. Do you really think $10 million is going to matter that much? What doesn't it require? Removing obsolete lines, finishing overdue inspections, repairing deficiencies on a deadline, or, publishing maintenance records. Newsom has released his sales pitch. Not the final bill language. We still don't know exactly who qualifies, what survivors must surrender, or whether Eaton will ultimately be included in this deal. And lawmakers, they're being asked to vote before the public will ever really see the language.
We're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team looking and reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here. We've got to let people know we have their back. We're going to be back. We're going to do it efficiently and effectively. Don't turn your back. Don't walk away because we want you to come back, rebuild.
I want people who need money today to be paid, and I think there are ways to do it. But giving Edison a free pass is not the solution. Edison owns all the equipment, controls all the records. Its shareholders collect the return. The public, us, finance the Wildfire Fund. Ratepayers absorb all the eligible costs. Taxpayers are rebuilding, but the utility keeps ownership and the profit. Everybody else carries the weight. I just don't think that's a fair exchange. We have one standard for the homeowners and a completely different standard for the utilities. When utility fires keep happening, I never thought in my life that I would consider myself a victim of anything. That's not how I see myself. But this whole experience has been very enlightening to me on a lot of different levels. When the fire first happened, I was relieved to know that we had a wildfire fund that would help Altadena recover. The truth is, the Wildfire Fund isn't for the people who lose their homes. The Wildfire Fund is actually for the utility companies. And when you think about it, that makes sense. The utility companies want a bailout. But the problem is, a bailout lets you be reckless. A bailout lets these utility companies get away with not maintaining their equipment. If a utility can't maintain its own equipment, then you shouldn't be a utility anymore. Here is Governor Newsom's response to the legislation that he is trying to pass.
Governor, this wildfire liability proposal that you've got in the works, I just want to ask, do you plan to call a special session given that this is such an emotional and complicated issue in such a short amount of time that you're trying to accomplish?
Well, we've been working on it 8 years. It stems from 1054 and the bankruptcy of the largest utility in the United States of America, creation of a $22 billion fund that will be exhausted because of the Eaton fire. Comes from a report that we initiated with the legislature last year, a report that was provided to the legislature earlier this year. And this proposal has been informed by that process that's unfolded over the course of the last number of years. It's likely with the Eaton fire, with the creation of yet another fund under the 254 framework of an additional $18 billion that will unfold over the last number of months, that that fund will be exhausted. And so we don't have time to wait.
If you've been working on this 8 years, why are you pushing this through in the final days of the session? Why does nobody get to see this bill in advance? Why is this not an open and transparent process where everyone can see what you're doing? Why the secrecy? Promised us a Marshall Plan, giving us the Newsom Plan. We were just about to publish this video when Politico obtained Newsom's confidential plan. The section about fire victims is called Certainty and Cost Containment. It caps Wildfire Fund coverage at $6 billion per fire. It eliminates punitive damages. It cuts off some emotional distress claims and imposes a 2-year deadline for every single claim. Newsom's office says it won't apply to Eaton. The document itself doesn't say that, and we still have no bill. But it also doesn't require utilities to remove obsolete lines, finish overdue inspections, repair dangerous equipment, or, publish their records. They sure found plenty of ways to contain the cost for the next fire, but doesn't seem like they're too concerned about preventing it.